This live martial arts training video, I'm talking about self-defense training with your walking cane, and specifically close quarters combat or getting close in self-defense cane or with your walking self-defense cane, how you're going to keep somebody out of your face, off of your throat, just basically getting them off of you with your cane. And we're gonna talk about all these techniques when someone closes the distance so fast, they get up close, they get up personal, and you feel just the panic set in because you realize that you should have stopped them when you had a chance here, or you didn't see him coming. Good morning. So the idea is close quarter self-defense cane combat, or CQB, that's what they call it, with the cane, the self-defense cane, what that looks like and what are some of the techniques you can use. It's all about principles though. Always remember the first principle is situational awareness. Pay attention to what's happening around you. Number two, when you can, get in a better position. Either this position here with the hook facing them or the crook going toward them, or if you carry your cane the other way, you want to be here. You want to have this distance between you and the threat. And then the third one is a question. This is really important. We're going to go over it in a minute. We talk about when they're really, really close or they're on top of you, which is, what are your targets? What are the targets that you're going to remove or destroy? And what I mean specifically is their ability to see you, smashing through their face, into their eyes, their ability to breathe temporarily, smashing the nose, smashing the teeth down the throat, blood's coming down, they're choking, or permanently right here through the throat. Thank you, it's my pleasure. Going here and creating this motion here or this motion here in through that tissue that's just gonna break and collapse, and they're not gonna be able to survive that. Gave myself the gag reflex there, it's pushing me back. So we're talking about those basic ideas. How do you get them off of you and keep them off of you so that you can go home and you can be safe using your combat self-defense cane or your walking cane, your tactical cane, whatever you call your everyday carry or training cane, martial arts cane. You wanna call it a martial arts cane. But it's all basically the same principles. And I like to talk about learning techniques and then using principles. So practice your techniques over and over. This basic warm-up spin here, I like to do every time just to get the blood flowing, to develop the calluses on the hand so that the cane slides through your hand better so you can get it in the position you want to. And then you're gonna go over and back in front of your body, which is now going to engage your core muscles, building your posture better, giving you more strength, more endurance to outlast the other person when you're defending yourself, when you have to fight, you don't have a choice. All that happens here, plus all of the mental training, right? The cross-body stuff. And then you go into the other hand, same thing. Always train when you can, ambidextrously. Both hands should be able to do the same thing. Going then across the body and back. In this workout, we're going to be talking about using both single hand strikes or single hand techniques and two-handed techniques or two hands on the cane. How to get them off of you, how to keep them off using one hand strikes and two hand strikes. And sometimes it's not even going to be a strike. It's just going to be taking it here, putting it in the throat and smashing them back, pushing them this way. Good morning. So the first thing I want you to do is think about distance. You have basically three distances when we talk about combat cane self-defense. The first one is you're not able to touch them, they're not able to touch you. I can touch them. So about this far back, if this is my target or the threat. The second one is you can touch them, but they can't touch you. You have this long stick. Good morning, it's good to see you, but they're not able to get you with their knife because their arm isn't as long as your cane. So the first distance, you can't touch them, they can't touch you. Second distance, you can get them, but they can't get you. And that's ideal. If you can be here, this is more ideal, right? They're not even anywhere close. But if you have to fighting here, that's ideal. Keeping them back off of you this way, right? Slide through their face, through that eye, removing the ability to see. That's ideal. But we're talking about the third distance today, which is they're on top of you. Either you let them get in too close because you hesitated, which, yeah, right, we all do that. Fear makes us do stuff like that. Or they simply caught you off guard. You were caught unaware. There's multiple attackers. The first guy was this far back, but then this guy came in. You had to address him, and then now there's someone on you here. The first thing I'm going to talk about are two-handed techniques. And they're super basic, super simple. I want you to think of what happens when you put two hands on your cane instead of one. With one cane, you have a pivot point, right? You have a pivot point or a turning point in your wrist or in your elbow or in your shoulder, moving this way. When you put two hands on it, you don't have that same kind of, we'll see in a little bit. You don't have that same kind of pivot point. You now have more stability. The second thing is, here, when all that force comes back in, it's going into your hand, and you're trying to control the force through your hand. Now with two, it's distributed evenly, and you have greater strength to both block and keep them away as they're pushing in. You'll go back, or to now strike. And you'll feel, when you start to train with this, you'll feel you have so much more strength. Think of doing push-ups. You're very strong if you do two-handed push-ups. If you do one, and if you've ever tried it, the Rocky push-up or whatever, you got to get your balance right. You got to kind of turn your shoulders. You shake going down. You pop that other hand in there. You're just so much stronger. It's that basic. It's that simple. And self-defense to me has to be simple. I can teach you. You can learn all of the joint locks, pressure points, takedowns, come-along techniques, all the cool things where you can twist and turn and do that. But first, learn the basics. Basics mean what's the easiest way for you to defend yourself, to stay safe, to be able to execute on your plan, to hit them and get out of there, shove them and get out of there. Do that first, and then later in training with a partner who's going to work with your advantage, do all that other really cool stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just understand where you're going to put it in. So back to the two-handed techniques. The first thing I'm going to tell you is if they're on your side and they're here, you take your cane into your hand and you use the tip just to go in. And I know that it all seems obvious, but obvious has to be practiced too. So from here, just straight in. If they're on the other side, and you can see now the bag's behind me, over here. I wanted to use this bag though because I want to show you that's a much heavier, harder bag to move than this bag is here. This bag moves pretty easy because of the leverage point. But here, pushing in, and think about all of the force of your two hands and your body turning. And I like to say it this way all the time. My hand may be stronger than his hand or than your hand. If I'm attacking you, let's just say, pretend, I'm attacking you, my hand, my arms, stronger than yours, but your body is always going to be stronger than my arm. Your body is always stronger than my thumb or my finger. I was talking to a bodyguard for a local family. It's a billionaire family, very famous family. And we were joking because we've had some of the same kinds of training. And he was talking about the finger principle. And I said, well, what's, because we were talking about, how close do you let people get to your principal, the person he's protecting, the family he's protecting. He says, well, I don't let them get close at all. He says, but most people don't ever see it because these people, they don't want the paparazzi coming around, or they're professional people that just go and try to get beat up by bodyguards and sue the billionaire family, which is sick, but people do that, right? But he says the one finger principle, he just grabs the finger and he breaks it. He just pushes it back. And the idea is, again, the guy could be bigger, taller, stronger than you, attacking you, but their finger is much smaller than your whole body. So if you understand these basic principles, that's what martial arts really is. It's using your brain, your smarts, your experience, these concepts and ideas, these principles over certain techniques. You want to get in a boxing match with a boxer, you're going to lose. You want to get into a grappling match with a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu black belt, the top guy, you're going to lose. But if you're talking about self-defense principles, you don't need to know any of that. All you need to know is this little tip here, your whole body turning into their ribs, right? Or into their face, or into their groin, or into their knee, their thigh. And it's just that principle of turning. Two hands on the cane, close quarter combat. The second one is if they're facing you. And from here, you always have your hand up when you can get it up. Bring it down in between you and the other person. Now, if their hands are on your chest, and I wish I had somebody show you here, but their hands are on your chest, and you bring it down on top of their arms, there are nerves all along this area here. And this is a joint lock or pressure point technique from law enforcement. But you put pressure there, it just puts them down. I don't care. And again, they can be 10 times stronger than you, bigger. Their hands go on your body, and you bring this up and then just straight down. You're very strong in this position. I said this before. Sometimes people have been disabled or are in a wheelchair and that part of their body isn't working the way it used to or has never worked that way. They're sometimes very strong because they can pull themselves up. Or you're very strong. You're very strong in this position, pulling stuff up off the floor, right? Pulling your pants on every day. I'm going to show you a way to exercise these moves that give you that strength. So from here, you bring it in, and it's that shoving motion. Now, the reason that the shoving motion works is because of the targets again. Imagine if, I'm going to take my glasses off. I don't want to break another pair. Imagine if you put it right there and you shove. You don't have to be strong to shove from here to create enough force in someone's face. There's a rule in martial arts is that if you can control the head, you can control the body. You put this here, you go right through their face, put it right in their nose, put it in their mouth, their teeth, in the throat. The gag reflex comes in fast. If you go fast enough, that can make them, that can be the end. So don't play around with it too much if you crush their windpipe. Even on the chest, you push on the chest, there are nerves in there, but you also have leverage because you have put two hands on the cane. The idea though is that you want to be explosive when you do it. Don't be tentative, don't be shy, right? Get them out of your face as quickly as you can. And then, because your other hand is on it, you've done this motion, you can also do this motion. Remember, we hit them in the ribs here, or in the groin, or in the throat, or in the face. After you shove them, they're still not off of you. That hook, especially if you have one of these fighting canes, I have a link below if you want to see what some of these cost. They're not much, by the way. You stick that in his mandibular joint, or in his cheek, or in his temple, right? Across the top of his head, through his eye, for self-defense, through the nose. Take that nose right off the face. And and how much pressure do you need? You don't need a lot, so you don't have to be much stronger. You don't have to be any stronger than the other person. The other person has rage and size and anger and adrenaline, and they're coming at you. And you have calmness and preparation and a big piece of wood with a nasty looking hook on the end that you're allowed to take anywhere and everywhere you go. It's a self-defense cane. From here, it's a walking cane. It's not a combat tool, it's a medical device. The law says you can take it wherever you want, and no one's allowed to ask you to prove that you need it. It's your right, especially in this country. So from here, you bring it down, you shove them off or push them back, slide this hook just straight across the face, bring it over, smash it back in through their head, just like a rifle butt, right? These are all two-handed techniques, and they're basics. Oh, greetings from New York. You need this in New York. You need this in Chicago. If you're in one of the second wave shutdown cities, I'm not saying go hide, you're going to get sick. I'm saying that they're just shutting everything down and they're taking away a lot more jobs. People are going to get a lot more desperate. You might need an everyday carry self-defense cane. I mean, New York's obvious. If you're in the city, I don't know if you're in the city or not. But welcome. Either way, New York's still a beautiful place. The news blows everything out of proportion. The world's not coming to an end. The world's good. It's going to be a better place. You're going to have a great life, but take some responsibility for that, and everything will be great. But prepare. Always prepare. Prepare so that you don't have to panic. So from here, we bring it in, shoving. You have this across. You have that coming back. You're on the other side, turning and striking. And it's basic and it's simple like that. Hello from Texas. Love Texas. I was in San Antonio when I was in the Marine Corps. I was stationed there for a short period of time at the Air Force Base. The place is hot. I was there Christmas Day. What was it, like 92 or something? I love it down there. Jackrabbits and coyotes and the big, all that great stuff down in Texas. And then going down to the border. All right, the Gulf Coast. Texas is one of those beautiful states. It's so massive and so large. You can go into the mountains. You can go out to the ocean. Practice this turning of the wrist. I want you to practice this. I know we started out with this, right? But I also want you to learn how to spin with your hand closed on the shaft, going in your figure eight motion, so that you can start to build speed, power, balance, coordination. And that's what I said. I said we're going to do one-handed close quarter combat techniques in two hands. Getting up close and personal with the self-defense cane, the combat cane. Excuse me. It's on my throat today. The weather down here, by the way, is beautiful. It's kind of like Texas, but we've got the other coast, the Atlantic Ocean. You've got the Gulf, we've got the Atlantic. All right, it's the same ocean, right? Just one's warmer, I think. The hook here, I'm going to have you face it toward the threat. One-handed techniques. Now, I started by saying that there are three distances. There's the distance where you can't hit them, they can't hit you. That's the safety zone. There's the distance where you can hit them, but they can't necessarily reach you because your cane is longer than their arm. If they have a knife and they're swinging at you, you want to be able to hit them before they get in. You want to be able to strike, go up into the groin. But what happens when they've closed that distance? I'm going to pop the cane up. I'm going to have you from here, just slide it up. From here, slide. Notice this hand always comes up. The other hand always comes up, and you're either going to step back if they're right on you or step into them. I like to step in and really close the distance. They're already there anyway. But if you get in here and you've closed that distance, you have this between you and them. If their face is here, this is in their line of sight. They've got to come around it just to see you to hit you, right? So from here, stepping in, getting that hook straight up, from here, and then it's as simple as a push, pushing. Now, do you need a lot of force and pressure? No, it's good if you have it because you can create more damage. You can create a bigger response from them, but you don't need a lot. This goes back to the basic principle. You don't have to be stronger. You don't have to be younger. You don't have to be faster. You don't have to be quicker. You don't have to be better trained. You just have to respond immediate, direct, and as explosive as you can make it. From this position to this position. And again, here's why this works. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to pretend like I'm fighting with somebody else, right? Take the glasses off. I'll bust my glasses up again. Again, I say again because I've done it hundreds of times. This is in front of my face, right? I was in his face, now he's in my face, but he's got a big piece of wood with a hook on the end, and that just breaks my nose, smashes me back. That's what I said. You don't need a lot of force. You don't need a lot of power. It doesn't have to be the fastest thing in the world. It just has to be a little quick. When this starts to come at me, I'm moving back. I don't care who they are. You're either going to hit them or you're going to move them, right? Most likely, you're going to hit them and move them at the same time. Smashing an eye, smashing the nose, smashing the orbital bone, knocking some teeth down their throat. The blood comes down. They can't see. They can't catch their breath. Or you go into the throat. Maybe you bring it around this way, right? You bring it up here, and then it's just a quick hook punch. And that's all that is. And you don't have, again, you don't have to be athletic, right? Let's say this is the threat. I'm up here. It's just a hook punch. The bigger one, the heavier one, here, it's just straight in, straight in, straight in. And it goes straight to the face or to the temple or to the neck or to a rib or up into the rib this way. Or from here, you can go straight into the solar plexus, knocking their wind out, creating distance between you and them. And then once you've created that initial distance, you come back and you have this part. You put the other hand on it, and you have that two-handed strike, which is very forceful. Now you're back to the two hands. We did like this, right? But now we're talking where the hands are in an opposing grip. So again, review. And that's all this is. This class today, basics, close quarter combat, getting up close and personal with the cane when they've invaded your space, stepping in or stepping back. The basic principle, the only thing you have to remember there is get the stick between you and the threat. From here, it just pops up. That's all that is. Remember, that's why at the beginning I like you to do this a lot. Not because I'm going to have you use this in self-defense, but because it's going to build those calluses on your hand. You're going to get, this is going to smooth out. The oil is going to get in there. Yeah, absolutely. Let me say one thing about, the straight handle or the tee or the ball. I saw a guy who had a sweet looking, it looked like a shillelagh, like an Irish fighting stick. But an Irish fighting stick, a true shillelagh, is smaller because, you see those pictures of the Irishmen and you can't see my feet, but the cross and they're leaning over. That's like only because my father-in-law is Irish, and we talk about shillelaghs all the time. He's actually from an area where they make shillelaghs, and there's a town called Shillelagh, so we know all about them down here, the Irish fighting stick. But the one with the ball on the end, I saw this guy, he was in the hardware store, and he was carrying, and he had this burled, like a black wood, and this sweet-looking ball on the end, and it looked like he wasn't carrying it because he needed to get around better. It looked like he wanted a little extra lever or layer of protection. It's like the reason I carry this in my car, it's like an auto insurance policy or a car insurance policy here in South Florida for when I go to the gas station. And I get out, and it's at night, and just a few weeks ago, young lady, mom, she's coming home from her late job as a chef, local restaurant, and some punk kid jumps out, asks her for her money. She didn't respond fast enough. Boom, she's gone. Her kids have no mom. Stuff like that, and you know this, stuff like that happens all the time. And it's horrible. And it happened pre-COVID, but it's happening more now because people are more desperate. So here in South Florida, car insurance policy, I stick this, it's not this one, it's my everyday carry. I'm gonna show you that in the next video, but it's like this times 1,000. It's so much cooler. It's got like extra features, but it's still legal. Back to the ball and the tee, you can do all these same techniques. You might not be spinning it, but I don't want you to spin for self-defense anyway. From here, if this is the ball or the tee, you can pop that up. I'm sure you know exactly how to do that. And now you get that big brass ball, or maybe it's a piece of wood, hard wood, or whatever it's made out of, some kind of not plexiglass, but you know what I mean, like polymer or something, and you smash them in the face, hook them in the head, uppercut to the body, right into the throat. Thank you, I appreciate that. And then the rest is the same, right? Smash through here, smash through there. We were talking about this in the last video. Some people have to carry the one with the 4 prongs on the end to give them extra stability, and it doesn't look like this. It's a medical cane, but they all work the same. They all work the same. This is more of the martial arts style, combat spinning, Hapkido cane, cane fu, Cane Masters International, American cane self-defense. And there are differences. I'm not saying they're all the same. What Master Gary Hernandez teaches, great stuff. If you don't watch his channel, go watch his channel. But it's all based on the same basic principles, but some people get really into, the going around, and I'm not criticizing any of it. I'm just saying that first things first, in my mind, in my experience, when I talk to people who are professional bodyguards, law enforcement, door kickers in the military, everybody believes the same thing. Don't show me what's fancy. Don't give me the latest, greatest gear. Just want to know what works. They just want what works. That's it. Don't confuse me with the facts. Tell me, just give me the thing and make sure that it works. And it works 100% of the time because their lives depend on it, and the lives of the people that they're protecting, our lives, in the case of the military, the law enforcement. It depends on practicality, not cool, fancy, awesome moves. I was talking to the law enforcement guy. He's got the cauliflower ear, and it looks like a fighter. He's like, yeah, I was a professional fighter, and law enforcement, top level, here locally, and SWAT team and all that, worked with the presidential bodyguard, blah, 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 blah. And he's also a black belt in jiu-jitsu and blah, blah. And he's like, but I really just want to learn practical self-defense. And I said, that's funny you said that because I think about that all the time. What's that look like to you? He's like, I want a couple punches and get out of the way. I don't want to be on the ground rolling around with people. So he doesn't want to make it, yeah. And this is what we're talking about. If you can't land the strikes, right? If this and this doesn't work, put the other hand on it and wait for him. That's the other part about it that I don't like about the move. And it's not a criticism. It's just difference in opinion. I like to wait. It reminds me of the pugil sticks in the Marine Corps. You would get up. We had all these different scenarios, especially back in the day when we were allowed to fight. I'm sure they still do it now. But you'd be waiting. You'd wait. As long as you waited, and you had good patience, but you were also explosive, you hit that guy first, and then commit and go in, instead of just flailing around, or however everybody did it back then. And I remember it all came down to calmness. And if you could have, and that's why I say learn how to slow down, or not slow down, it's just said it backward. Learn how to calm down, not how to slow down. Because almost everybody wants to say, wait, slow it down. Slow it down. Yeah, perfect, John. They say, you're going too fast. And I always say, speed up, catch up. And it's not about going faster. It's about being okay with going slower and allowing yourself to be uncomfortable and stay out of your comfort zone in your training so that you can train your body to stay calm under pressure. And it's not about learning how to be so much faster than the other person, because it's not speed, it's timing and distance. It's not speed, it's not power, it's not beating them with athleticism, not for self-defense. It might be in a boxing match or whatever, but even in boxing or kickboxing or taekwondo or jiu-jitsu or judo or whatever, you need to have better timing and distance. So if you have a good position, a good body position, I'm gonna switch hands because I want the cane between me and them, and they start to close, and you just stick it like that. They start to close the distance. It's that simple. All I'm doing, because they're coming in a straight line to me, is I'm sticking it here, and I want to go right into their throat. And then you don't need a lot of force. You just need enough to push them back. And then if you feel the resistance, step in, put the other hand on it, and really push, or whatever. The technique's not as important as the principle. The principle is learn how to calm down, don't slow down. Talking about two-handed cane techniques, pushing, striking, and then just getting them off of you, right? High block, low block, block to one side, block to the other side. Practice that. And then one-handed cane techniques with the hook facing them. Pop it up, step in. Pop it up or step back. And then just, what are your targets? Go into the nose, hook to the head, hit anything in there. It doesn't matter, it's like a big hammer. Just hook something. Bring through the backside after you hook them. You hook them here or you punch them here and that moves them back. Now you've increased distance, you can hit with this part. And then that knocks them back more. Put the other hand on it, step in and strike this way. Now you go back to two-handed techniques. But in this case, the palms are facing away from each other. Now I did want to show you, and there's a million more, but you can figure them out, or we'll train them together. Or I should say and or. I want to show you how to get real power. This is really important. I'm sorry, I almost forgot. The hand, they grab your cane, okay? And now you're wrestling with them. They've got one hand or two hand on your cane. You're here. If you're here in South Florida, I need you to come and help me. Be my live dummy, right? We'll show I'll let you do it to me, and we'll show everybody what it's supposed to look like with two people. But the hand's there. Now, here's what works. Your hand is here, is turning. Turning works. Here's what doesn't work. Wrestling, trying to get it away from them. We already said they could be a lot stronger, and it doesn't matter. They're a lot stronger. They're starting to pull. All their energy is going that way. Your energy is going to go this way. They're not expecting this way. And if they are, by the time they start to fight it back, you're then going to push the top hand down, going straight in and across their head. Here's his head. Turn down. And because you're using leverage against, what if they trap it? You mean like grab hold of it? Yeah, Greg, you're welcome anytime. Come down and we'll make a couple videos together. I'd love to train with you. So you turn and down, it doesn't matter. Now, let's say they grab here. You hit them here. That's what I'm assuming you're saying. And then they're holding the tip of your cane. That's a pivot point. That's a pivot point, right? When your hands are apart, either like this or like this, you have great strength and control. When your hands are together here, you have less strength and control, and you concentrate. It's like a baseball swing. A baseball swing compared to a sword strike, a Japanese sword strike. The reason that sword is done this way is so that you stop here and you always fight behind your sword. If your hands were together, you'd have more power and speed initially, but you wouldn't be able to stop it. And then the other guy, because Japanese swordsmen are precision, they'd lop your head off. So you always have your hands apart like that. So now he's here holding your cane, you're here. If you try to pull and he's strong, in this position, he's very strong. It's like pulling a rope, like the game we all played as kids, right? Tug of war. So let him have it, and then let him have it. You go with it, and you push down, or if your hand's here, push down this way. Because now, when you're pushing down, he's in a weak position, especially if he's pulling like this, and if you've ever had brothers or sisters, I have 4 brothers growing up, you know, when you're fighting over something and the other one lets you have it and you go flying back, that's basically what it is. But you're not going to give him your cane. You're not going to let it go. From here, when it goes, we're going to go in, and then you're just pushing your whole body to the ground, either here, or if you can change your hand position. If you ever do bow with me, bow staff or Joe, you know, this is one of my favorite exercises. Just practice. Changing your hand position from palms facing each other. You can do both hands. You can practice that. Make that part of your daily training. Oh, and also practice these. I'm trying to throw this into every workout. Work on your extensors and flexors in your hand to keep your wrist and your forearm strong so that you don't get tendonitis and the tightness and all that other stuff. And if you do, let me know. We'll work more. I'll show you some more of the stretches and stuff. So anyway, John, I don't know if that gave you the answer you're looking for. He's pulling this way. You're over here. Change your hand position. Give it to him. Time it, right? Timing and distance. Give it to him and then push straight to the ground and watch if they don't go straight to the ground. Then, when they're down here, smash them with the backside of that cane with pure, for self-defense, with the purest intention of smashing, making them stop attacking you. That's what it's all about, self-defense. Make them stop attacking you. He's pulling. Give it to him. Down. Slide that through. Right on top of the head. Not yet, you can't. Here's how you start if you can't do it yet. Start here. Use your other hand. Put it those 2 fingers. Use the other hand. And those 2. You're not alone, John. Most people can't do them. And they can't do it for a lot of reasons. Tightness. It doesn't make sense to their brain. They're not as dexterous as, is that the word? They're not as dexterous as they used to be. They've lost mobility. But I do this. I do this with 70, 80-year-old people whose hands are gnarled. And we go very slowly, and it's painful at first. But what happens is just this, moving it through, leads to this. And when it leads to that, you get a lot of your strength back, a lot of your flexibility back. You get rid of the trigger finger. Some of those bursts go away. Some of the knots that the doctor says that never goes. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not pretending to be. I'm just telling you from my experience. A lot of that goes away when you start doing that. All right, one last thing I want you to think about is how to get stronger. And this is kind of a medium-sized band, but you can get the thinner bands. Any exercise band will do. And if you need a link, please email me. Go to pasquinelli.com, and in the contact box, send me a message. Hey, or put it in the comment section here. I would like the link to where to get the bands. And I'll send you the most inexpensive I can find that I've bought that I know are high quality. And it's an affiliate thing. So full disclosure, I make 12 cents. Literally. It's like no money. I laugh all the time. Like, why do I still do that? And Amazon keeps making it harder and harder for me to make a penny. But that's not I'm not complaining. I'm just grateful to be able to do it. All right. So around the one side, and then you're going to swing it behind you. And this is the hardest part of the whole thing, is how to get it back there and get it in your other hand. And then you bring it up. I just lost it. I'll bring it around the other way. Bring it up so that it's on both sides. Get in there eventually. There we go. And it's just around your shoulders in the back. And the sweatier you get, the more it's gonna roll up. So just keep rolling it down. It's not a perfect science, as I like to say. But it's a really good way to get into explosiveness so that at any age, at any ability level, you can smash someone off of you. And someone asked me last time, what if you can't put it on your back because of your spine? And if you go back to the last workout, I showed you how I would do it, I think, if that were my situation. And there are people that I work with where I don't put any pressure on their back, and that's how we do it. So you're just pushing like you're doing a push-up. And your hands are about as wide as your shoulders are. And you're going to do that to warm yourself up for about 30 seconds. Then the second set, you're going to add that turn in where you're just turning. And it's all slow and smooth. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. This is where your explosiveness comes from, going through. And you're going to be able to do these basic motions. Yeah, I love bands. I like bands better than weights, I gotta be honest. I like the feel of weights every once in a while, but I feel bands are so much safer and get so much more done. You can really isolate the muscles that you wanna work with the bands. So that's the second way. Now the third way is you're gonna bring your hands in and you're gonna work the triceps, or the backs of the arms. In the last two exercises, you're working triceps too, but this is more isolation. This is gonna give you that more explosive power to get them. Well, it's not. It's only different that you don't have to get on the ground and get back up. So for some people, it's harder. It's different because the tension is different. You're not engaging the core. So I've done thousands of push-ups a day for long periods of time. Right now, I do a maintenance set where I do 250 a day. So, but no, you're fine. Ask me. I don't care. But that's a great question. They're different than push-ups. It's just a different way to do it. They're both good. I like to do push-ups against the counter. I like to do push-ups with the feet elevated, and then push-ups with the hands elevated. I have variations of push-ups for days. So I love push-ups. There's nothing wrong with them. But I like this too because of the isolation that you get. So I'll say that, Greg. So from here, from your head, it's not a downward push. A lot of times when you try it, you go down, but think about forward, right? And in this way, you could think about diamond push-ups or close hand push-ups. And when you're doing this, you're really firing the backs of the upper arm or your triceps, and that just burns me fast. They burn out so fast that way. That's another reason why I like them better than, not better than push-ups, but in addition to push-ups, because you can isolate and really burn out your arms faster and build strength faster. But it's that explosiveness, it's that guard position, striking, whether it's punches, palm strikes, elbows, all of it's gonna come faster. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you can do like chopping motions. There's a million things you can do. I'm gonna lower you just a little bit so you can see this next one. And then this will be the end. You kind of put it under your bum, hands out, but your elbows always need to be close to your body. If your elbows are out here, you put too much pressure on your shoulder, elbow in the wrong way. Always, whether it's push-ups or pulls, you always want your arm in line with your body. You can do this in push-ups. This is much better for beginners. It's harder too, but this is gonna keep your shoulders healthy. And then as you get stronger, work on this, wide grip push-ups, but that's when you've done it for a while. The problem is most people start doing push-ups like this, they get hurt and they only do 10 and they're done. Do them here, you won't get hurt, but you'll build wicked strength in your arms, in your chest. All right, so from here, it's just a curl, and you just push your hips back as an anchor, and you isolate the biceps by letting the hand kind of roll, the wrist roll back. If you've ever done lots of weightlifting, you know about that. And you do that for a set of 30 seconds. Then bring your hands in, close grip. Same thing, elbows close to the body, 30 seconds. And the nice thing about, I buy these bands in sets. So you have like red, which is the thinnest, and then black, and then this purple, which is like third, and then you have a red or a green, which is like this thick. And I don't do them like that. They're hard, but it's a great way to get stronger. And then change your grip so your palm is facing down. Put your thumbs up out of the way. And same thing, work on that. And now you're starting to work this top part and the outside of the arm. And then all these exercises in combination just make you stronger and faster. And again, there's a million other things you can do. You can leave it like that, step into the band, and you can curl this way and do a different kind of pull or bicep curl with a better range of motion but less resistance. And then the wider you make your feet, then the harder it is. The more narrow your feet are, the less resistance you have. Pull this way. Don't let your elbows come too high. Just pull here, 2. And then all these exercises, when you do, like I said, you don't have to be stronger than the other person. You have to know what you're doing. But when you do get in that tug match, you're gonna feel stronger. You're gonna have more confidence. You're gonna smile to yourself because you know that as you're pulling, you're gonna let him have it without letting go of it, turn and then smash it right in his face because you have so much strength from doing these exercises. No matter where you're starting now, you're definitely gonna get a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger. Just never give up. You never should have, young man or woman. I know you weren't looking for that answer, but you know what I was saying. All right, thanks so much. Check out those links and put in what you want to work on in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.